877-600-4264.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything will be taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. You know, on May 29th, I warned that a stock market crash was coming. I also warned in July. Both times, I was watching my technology, my PT2 chart, and it turned from green to red. Both in May and July, we had substantial warnings. We saw the industrials fall. We saw that the market, the Chinese market, was falling, was getting worse. Oil was falling. Copper was falling. Everything was falling. But again, CNBC was telling you, hey, things are cheap. Diversify. Everything's wonderful. But my chart was giving me something different. And on both those occasions, both in May and July, I told my gang, let's short the stock market now, because my PT2 chart indicated a sell-off was coming in. And we did. And we had a wonderful ride all the way down. Join my gang, Phil's Gang.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, every day we read in the paper or we hear on radio or TV how the market is rigged. So what? It's rigged to go up, not to go down. You know this market hasn't pulled back 10%, not 10% since 2011, and you're not in this market. You want the market to be rigged. All you got to know is when to get out before it blows up. That's why you become a gang member, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
From the perspective of the U.S. economy, I think we've seen continuing signs of strength.
Continuing signs of strength? What are you, nuts? Household spending dropped to its lowest level since 2008. Retail sales dropped to its lowest level in 9 years. Wages to its lowest level in 30 years. Disposable income to its lowest level in 40 years. Home ownership to its lowest level in 30 years. What's he talking about? That's Jack Lew, our Treasury Secretary. We can't trust anything that comes out of Washington or Wall Street. And that's why I want you to join Phil's Gang. My name is Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Well, the reason you stay away from the stock market because you're fearful, because no one has taught you how to invest. You go to school to learn how to do math. You go to school to learn how to drive. Why don't you go to school to learn how to invest using charts? Join my gang, philsgang.com, the best teaching format in the country when it comes to stocks.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. You know, everybody, the hot stocks Apple or Google, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What people don't understand is every stock is the same. If the institutions buy it, it goes up. If they don't, it goes down. It doesn't matter the name. That's why we use charts to identify money in, money out. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com, Phil's Gang Radio Show. You know, we just went through a 1,900-point stock market drop, fastest drop ever in 2 days. Most of you panicked. At Phil's Gang, we didn't look at it as a crash. We looked at it as an opportunity because we were short. Why? Because I was able to teach my students how to read a chart, so in advance, they would know that the market was going to go down. It's all about learning. It's always amazed me, our whole life. Someone teaches us to play baseball. Someone teaches us to ski. Someone teaches us how to drive a car. But there's nobody there to teach you how to invest in a stock. And that's where I come in. I think I have the best teaching format in the country. Check it out. It's philsgang.com. So you'll be so comfortable, you don't care if the market's going down or the market's going up. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, it used to be, hey, what's that hot stock? There's no hot stocks anymore. You know what it's all about now? It's identifying when to get in the market, when to get out. And why? Because the market is rigged. It's rigged to go up. There's nothing better. It's rigged to go up. It's called quantitative easing. Join my gang, philsgang.com. Have fun with us in a rigged market.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
Well, I'm glad that the first trading day is not a bellwether for the whole year. At least historically, it hasn't been a good indicator. And I actually think we're going to get 8 to 10% this year. I think it's not going to be as bad as I've seen so much bearishness around right now. And I don't think it's going to be all that bad. I think Bob Pisani had all the reason. I do think China, 7% is a big movement in the world's second largest economy. We saw what happened in August. Everyone is keying off of that. I also think
oh my God, I get a headache. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. These experts just drive you crazy. Listen to this. Listen to what Kramer says about China. Everybody's blaming China. It's all about China, just China. If we didn't have China problem, we'd be fine. We'd be prosperous. Really?
Well, the Chinese changed some rules. Remember, it is a communist country and a dictatorship. They change rules like that. There's not really any sort of give or take with investors there. So they put the rules through. They failed. The government pulled back. Last night they were buying furiously to keep the market up. Again, it's a dictatorship.
Wait a minute, they're buying stocks to keep the market up. That's a dictatorship. Then what the hell are we? Are you kidding? We printed $2 trillion to give to companies to push their stocks up. We printed $3 trillion to put into the stock market to push stocks up. We printed $85 billion to buy 10-year treasuries. The Federal Reserve did that to get everybody out of the treasuries and force them into buying stocks. Then we're a dictatorship. We certainly go into socialism. We know that. That's amazing, is it? What a stupid statement that is. Let's tell the truth about what's going on in China. But first of all, let's talk about this market. We had the biggest one-day drop in 84 years. You think that's all because of China? What are you, nuts? Remember, I told you, as I told my gang many months ago, that we were going to have a collapse in this market. The indicators are there. Now remember, I also said that the leaders would get hit the hardest, the ones that are leading this market. I said starting with NASDAQ. And they did. For the year, they got hit the hardest. NASDAQ dropped 2.1%. The S&P dropped 1.5%. The Dow dropped 1.6%. But it was the NASDAQ who got hit the hardest. Now let's go to the blame, China. So the market, we open up in China, the market dropped in China 7%. Because the PMI, which measures the health of manufacturing sector in China, now shows for 8 straight months a contraction. So they said, that's the reason that, that triggered doubts about China's economy and why we woke up and the market was down 300 points. And then after the market opened, we were down 450 points. It was because of China's PMI. Their manufacturing is really bad. 8 straight months contracting. So, as during the day, the market continued. We went down, as I say, we opened up down 300 points and went down 450 points. But at the end of the day, there was an announcement, there was a word on the street, rather, I should say, that China would then print $20 billion and put it into the stock market and put that 20 billion in, and that would be a backstop. And it worked. So we went from 450 points down. We shaved off 174, and we closed down only 276. Now, I guess we must be, according to Kramer, only dictators do that, he said. Dictatorships. But here's what I don't get. Now let's think about this. We get our PMI on December 31st, measuring our manufacturing, how well we're doing. Well, guess what? Our manufacturing was much worse than China. Much worse. So how did we go from 300 points down to 450, back up to 276? Shouldn't we have gone from 450 down to maybe 550, 650? Where does our manufacturing show up? Oh, it just shows up in China's numbers. Oh, it doesn't show up in our numbers. What are you, nuts? Our manufacturing has continued to collapse. What doesn't show up yesterday? In fact, no fundamentals ever show up in our market. And that's why we use charts. And that's why you follow the big companies. That's why you follow the money. If you're using charts and you're following the companies that buy, if you're the institutions that are buying companies, that's all you need to do. If you're going to go with fundamentals, you're never going to make any money. So our terrible PMI released on December 31st never even hit the numbers, never even hit the market. Our manufacturing continues to collapse. Our new order volume is now the same as it was in 2009. That's stagnant. Can you believe that? Let me repeat. Our new orders, our volume, is now the same as it was in 2009. You know how bad that is? In other words, we don't have hardly any backlogs of work. The backlogs of work is decreasing so fast. We haven't seen backlogs of work decrease as fast a pace since September 2009. But how come this didn't show up on Monday? How come this didn't show up yesterday? Wouldn't it make sense that if the stock market went down 450 because of China's PMI, shouldn't we go down at least? We were worse. We should have gone down at least another 450. We should have been down at least, 800 points. But no, we closed down just 276. Where's our numbers? Where's our numbers? Now, we expected an improvement in manufacturing. The geniuses on CNBC did, not us. I told you manufacturing is over with in this country. When are people going to realize there's no more manufacturing in this country? Why would there be? If you're a CEO of a company and you take all your people and you ship all their jobs overseas, instead of paying somebody for benefits and insurance and all that stuff, about $20 an hour, $25 an hour, you can get it done for $1.50. All of that difference between $1.50 and let's say $20, that all comes back to the company as profit. But it all comes back to who? The CEO. It comes back to the shareholders. It never helps the company. The company, they don't even buy any new equipment anymore for the company. It certainly doesn't go to employees for a raise, not even overtime. They don't buy any equipment, nothing. It all benefits the CEO, the greedy CEO, and the shareholder. It does nothing for Main Street. We talk about this all the time. So our manufacturing is worse than China, but doesn't reflect in the stock market. What does that tell you? It tells you that they financially engineer the market every day. And that's why you join my gang, and that's why you learn how to use a chart. And if you're nearing retirement and you're finding out you don't have enough money, you know that 80% of the people who are nearing retiring do not have enough money to retire. And I told you why. How do you make enough money to retire if they put you in these stupid 401ks that all you can do is make money when the stock goes up? Never can make money with a stock going down. So how could you expect when you're nearing retirement, you're almost there, and the average American right now should have $1 million. They have $25,000 to $50,000. Why? Because they steal the fee. They steal from you on the fees. They take half of your money, and they only let you buy stocks. They don't let you short stocks. What are you, nuts? We'll be right back. Phil's gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Middle-class economics works.
Works? Where? Show me where it works. You tell us the unemployment rate is 5.1%, and you only get to 5.1% by making sure people don't have a job. Think of August. August, the unemployment rate went down to 5.1% because 200,000 people couldn't find a job. If they found a job, our unemployment rate would be at 10%. Isn't this amazing? Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Aren't you sick of this stuff? Aren't you sick of these politicians? They keep lying to us. You know, Wall Street does too. And how many times have you said, boy, I hate Wall Street. I hate the stock market. But that's the best place in the world to make money. But you need a lesson. You need a lesson on how to invest. That's where I come in. Join my gang, philsgang.com. It's the best teaching format in the country when you want to learn how to invest in stocks. philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Middle-class economics works.
Works? Where? Show me where it works. You tell us the unemployment rate is 5.1%, and you only get to 5.1% by making sure people don't have a job. Think of August. August, the unemployment rate went down to 5.1% because 200,000 people couldn't find a job. If they found a job, our unemployment rate would be at 10%. Isn't this amazing? Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Aren't you sick of this stuff? Aren't you sick of these politicians? They keep lying to us. You know, Wall Street does too. And how many times have you said, boy, I hate Wall Street. I hate the stock market. But that's the best place in the world to make money. But you need a lesson. You need a lesson on how to invest. That's where I come in. Join my gang, philsgang.com. It's the best teaching format in the country when you want to learn how to invest in stocks. philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. What is Phil's Gang? PhilsGang.com is a subscription website service that host Phil Grande has been teaching and providing daily stock investment recommendations for over 15 years, all in the name of making its customers educated investors and helping the kids at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If you want to take charge of your financial future, then do not wait any longer. For only $49.95, become a Phil's Gang member today. Go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com, Phil's Gang Radio Show. You know, we just went through a 1,900-point stock market drop, fastest drop ever in 2 days. Most of you panicked. At Phil's Gang, we didn't look at it as a crash. We looked at it as an opportunity because we were short. Why? Because I was able to teach my students how to read a chart, so in advance, they would know that the market was going to go down. It's all about learning. It's always amazed me, our whole life, someone teaches us to play baseball, someone teaches us to ski, someone teaches us how to drive a car. But there's nobody there to teach you how to invest in a stock. And that's where I come. I think I have the best teaching format in the country. Check it out. It's philsgang.com. So you'll be so comfortable. You don't care if the market's going down or the market's going up. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. Remember, on May 29th and July 28th, I said to short the market. The market was going to experience a correction. How did I know? My PT2. Check it out. This is not a crash for us. We're experiencing a correction because we are now making money on our stocks because we're shorting it. Using our PT2 identified for us when they were pulling their money out, both in May and July, and we were right there to pull our money out too. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. You know, on May 29th, I warned that a stock market crash was coming. I also warned in July. Both times, I was watching my technology, my PT2 chart, and it turned from green to red. Both in May and July, we had substantial warnings. We saw the industrials fall. We saw that the market, the Chinese market was falling, was getting worse. Oil was falling. Copper was falling. Everything was falling. But again, CNBC was telling you, hey, things are cheap. Diversify. Everything's wonderful. But my chart was giving me something different. And on both those occasions, both in May and July, I told my gang, let's short the stock market now because my PT2 chart indicated a sell-off was coming in. And we did. And we had a wonderful ride all the way down. Join my gang, Phil's Gang.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by philsgang.com.
This is one of the worst of the financial stocks, maybe the worst out component. It's been a really tough go for this name, and I don't see any sign that the price action wants you to come in here and call a bottom just yet. But it's getting really cheap. I think it's 11 times earnings at this point, and Buffett's always out there, so I wouldn't be a seller either.
Unbelievable. Welcome back to Phil's Gang. They're talking about American Express. Isn't that incredible? That's not how you invest in a stock. Buffett may be out there too. He may buy the company. American Express, I love after American Express drops like a flying crowbar, they come on and talk about American Express. Well, wouldn't it be nice if they told you that the institutions that invest in American Express back in November were pulling their money out? And it turned from green to red on your chart. So it turned from green to red. It turned red at $74. And it dropped down to $65. Now that's a 12% drop. Wouldn't it have been nice if they came out and said to you, as I do with my gang, okay, American Express, let's take a look at it. Right now we can see institutions pulling their money out. So now we got to short this stock because it turned from green to red. So let's say you got a 10% return. But instead, here's what they do. After it drops, they come out and tell you this jibber jabber.
This is one of the worst of the financial stocks.
One of the worst financial stocks. Well, you take advantage of it. He sounds like he's ready to cry. This is great. It turned from green to red. They took the money out. We could see it. They took the money. Isn't that great? You have an opportunity to make money when the market goes down. That's why when you retire, you don't have any money. That's why you don't have enough money to retire. It's impossible. For God's sakes, even your 401k. If you invested $10,000 a year for 30 years, compounded at 7% annually, they tell you you'll have $945,000, say $1 million. But what they don't tell you is you got to deduct 62% for fees. 62%. So you lose more than half of that. But they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that. Now, how are you going to catch up? Because all they let you do is make money on the way up. If you're behind, if you're heading towards retirement, how on earth, if you only have 50, 60, 100,000, 150,000, and you need $1 million, an average person needs $1 million, how are you going to catch up? First of all, you should have never been in that position because you should never have been in a 401k because nobody should ever steal 62% or 62% of your money, and especially 28. They have 28 fees that are hidden, that you can't find. They're hidden in net asset value of the stock. Most of those fees, one of the biggest fees, is during the day, they trade your stock. They burn and churn it all day long and to make commissions for themselves, and you never see it break out that commission. Call your planner right now. Tell them you want to go through your 401k. You want to see all the fees that was charged to you, all the trading, all the burning and churning in 2015. Please break that out for me in my 401k. I want to see the fees, the trading fees. All of a sudden you say, I'm on my cell phone. I'm in a bad area. I can't hear you. Hello? Hello? It's crazy. So as we go into this new year, we got to think about this. So there's American Express. Now here's another. Listen to this.
Tiffany is their best new idea.
Tiffany, talking about Tiffany.
Tiffany is their best new idea for 16.
I agree, and I'm going to keep it pretty simple here. The stock trades at 17 times this year's earnings. Historically, it trades in the low to mid-20s, so that's easily a 30 to 35% gain from here. Should you worry about China? Yes, of course.
Oh, my God. Here we go, China again. And then they're talking about, listen how they try to suck you in with ridiculous, meaningless, stupid PEs.
Tiffany is their best new idea for 16.
I agree, and I'm going to keep it pretty simple here. The stock trades at 17 times this year's earnings. Historically, it trades in the low to mid-20s, so that's easily a 30 to 35.
God, PE 17. What good's a PE? A PE tells you nothing. It used to. A PE used to tell us the value of the earnings, but we can't identify value of earnings when they go in and they take the market and they financially they rig it. So how can someone say to you with a straight face, the PE ratio of Tiffany is 17, therefore it's good. It's a low price. It's a low valuation. When the market's been financially engineered to go up 200% since 2009, where they pumped in $85 billion a month, they pumped in $3 trillion, they pumped in $2 trillion, they pumped in $5.5 trillion to move the market up. And we never had so many people, the fewest people ever borrow so much money. Hedge funds went out and borrowed all this money, margin money, an increase of 600%. And you know what that does? When you have few people borrowing all that money, it changes the PE ratios. That's not what you look at. What you look at on Tiffany, I'll keep it simple. Not this guy. I'll keep it simple. Very simple. If you go back and look, when it turned from green to red, all you want to know is when are they pulling money out? So it was green back in August. Then it turned red at $94. And it dropped from 94 down to 75. 94, that's a 20% gain you should have had. But your 401k will never make that for you because they aren't allowed to sell short. Isn't that ridiculous? So again, from about $95 down to 75, that's about a 20% drop. Let's say you even picked up 10% of that. That's how you're going to catch up. If you're going towards retiring and you're worrying, you know you haven't got enough money to retire, and you say, well, I'm just going to work longer. Well, let's see how that works out for you. That's a real great plan. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. The only way you can catch up, if you, for once in your life, think about common sense. Should you make money when a stock goes down just like you make it when it goes up? Well, that's why you call my number right now, 877-600-GANG. Let us do that. Let us help you. Join my gang now.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. At philsgang.com, we promote core technicals and chart analysis that enables each Phil's Gang member to be the best investor they can be. At philsgang.com, stock investing is defined in detail by the Phil's Gang standards. Working together, we achieve our goals and ultimately provide a truly unique profit-taking experience for our members. This is what philsgang.com does, and no one does it better than the off-the-Wall Street maverick, Phil Grande. For over 15 years, Phil coaches and teaches that stock investing diversity goes beyond fundamentals and stories. We believe that amazing things happen when people invest in themselves by following Phil's format and recommendations. At philsgang.com, we believe in the desire to embrace, build, and deliver on our core values and promises. And for over 15 years, Phil Grande has delivered on that promise. For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Do you think gold is money?
No. Gold's not money? You got to be kidding. That's Ron Paul asking Ben Bernanke. Of course, Ben Bernanke lied. Of course, gold is money. But here's what he doesn't want you to know. They've been suppressing gold, trying to push gold down. because it competes with the dollar. The Federal Reserve doesn't sell gold, they sell dollars. Gold competes. Gold will dictate in a free market where interest rates should be. That's the last thing they want, because they manipulate interest rates. Now, has your broker told you that? Has your planner told you that? No. Well, I told my gang that. I explained it to them, and we positioned ourselves to be in a perfect position for gold and copper as it dropped. That's why you want to join my gang, Phil's Gang. We're right on top of this. philsgang.com. Join today. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Generally agree that monetary policy was not the main reason for the housing bubble.
What are you, nuts? Of course, monetary policy was the reason for the housing bubble. That's Ben Bernanke. Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. He's lying. Listen to this. In December 2000, interest rates were 6.5%. Within the next 30 months, Bernanke dropped them down to 1%. Because of that, mortgage originations grew from 1.5 trillion to 5 trillion. That was by the end of 2003. The housing bubble was inflated, and it was continued being fueled by his policies, which eventually we saw mortgages that grew from 28 trillion mortgage to 50 trillion. He lied. But here's the important thing. We were able to take advantage of that here at Phil's Gang, and we were able to make money because of it. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Our economy has been moving.
Yeah, in the wrong direction. This is the same guy that told us we could keep our doctor and we could keep our health insurance. Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Look, I have the best teaching format in the country when it comes to learning how to invest in stocks. People will tell you that. Look, we can't listen to Wall Street. We can't listen to our government. We listen to our charts. That's why you join philsgang.com. Food stamps have exceeded 45 million for 50 straight months, and he's telling us things are good. What are you, nuts?
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com, Phil's Gang Radio Show. You know, we just went through a 1,900-point stock market drop, fastest drop ever in 2 days. Most of you panicked. At Phil's Gang, we didn't look at it as a crash. We looked at it as an opportunity because we were short. Why? Because I was able to teach my students how to read a chart, so in advance, they would know that the market was going to go down. It's all about learning. It's always amazed me, our whole life. Someone teaches us to play baseball. Someone teaches us to ski. Someone teaches us how to drive a car. But there's nobody there to teach you how to invest in a stock. And that's where I come. I think I have the best teaching format in the country. Check it out. It's philsgang.com. So you'll be so comfortable. You don't care if the market's going down or the market's going up. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, many people left the stock market after the crash, and here's why.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
And that's still going on. That's your planner. They don't represent you. They represent themselves, your money manager. But you have to make a change. You can't change them. You make the change. Join my gang, philsgang.com, so that we can take care of you. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by philsgang.com.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Obama started on gun control again. With everything that's going on in this country, are you kidding? But we'll get back to that a little bit later. Let's get back to your retirement. Back to your 401ks. You know, you're told, they always tell you your plan. Well, if you're age 20, if you're 25 years old right now, if you put away $5,100 every year, just put it away in your 401. Put it away, $5,100. You'll have a total of $1 million. Right? Calculate on 6% interest. You'll have about $1 million when you retire at 65 years old. If you're 25, just keep doing it. That's the biggest bold-faced lie you'll ever get. First of all, you're never told that out of that comes 62% in fees. 62%. You lose more than half. Just the fees. Even smart guys from Harvard don't even get it. Even guys from Yale and Harvard, they don't get it. They don't focus on cost. You know what they focus on? All you ever hear, dividends. Oh, I got beautiful dividends. I got beautiful dividends. Oh, look at my dividends. Instead of focusing on cost. But see, Wall Street has set it up where they mask the cost. They mask it. They're experts in masking the cost. They hide 28 administrative fees, and you don't even know it. Hide them. And your net asset value, your 401k, you have no clue that's going on. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what you don't even get. Even a Yale guy, Harvard guy doesn't get those fees, marketing fees, bookkeeping fees, revenue sharing fees, finder fees. The biggest one I just told you about before the break, the trading fees. Do you know what these companies like J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs, all the companies you're with, your 401k, the guys who are managing the 401k, all the big companies, you know what they take every day? They steal from the 401k person $168 million a day in hidden fees, trading fees. That's why you don't if you're 25 years old, you don't end up putting $5,000 away every year. You're going to end up with $1 million. You never will. You end up with half that. But you don't even end up with half that. You want to know why? Because we are now in bubble land. Ever since they shipped jobs overseas for the purpose of taking a guy, you own a plant, you're paying him with his all the benefits and hourly, you're paying him about $25, $30 an hour. You ship his job over to China, it's only going to cost you $2 an hour. The difference between the $2 and let's say $35, that comes back to you in your pocket, the CEO. Now that money is supposed to come back, and he's supposed to plow it back into the company and grow the company, hire more people, buy new equipment. So then the new equipment he's buying, that's giving other companies new jobs. And it keeps on the multiplier effect. And it keeps multiplying and multiplying through the country. They don't do that anymore. This country doesn't do that anymore. There's no more multiplier effects. So they ship your job out. So let's say $30 an hour or $32 an hour. It gets done for $2 an hour. So the difference comes back to the CEO in his options. He exercises options. He puts the money in his pocket, and the shareholders get it. And Wall Street gets it. What's left for you? Nothing. What's left for you, the worker? Nothing. Oh, but I got a 401k. Good luck. Good luck. So please don't fall for that. The 401k was never designed for you to retire. It was designed for Wall Street to build big skyscrapers. That's what it was designed for. What are you, nuts? Okay, let's talk about, Obama's been talking about guns. This drives me nuts. Listen to this.
There are actions within my legal authority that we can take to help reduce gun violence and save more lives. Actions that protect our rights and our kids. Number one, anybody in the business of selling firearms must get a license and conduct background checks or be subject to criminal prosecutions. We're also expanding background checks to cover violent criminals who try to buy some of the...
Oh, blah, 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 blah. He was on today telling us all this. Well, first of all, I want to know something. If you're so concerned about gun control, then control the guns in your hometown, you hypocrite. Your hometown of Chicago. Why don't you use that as a test? Why don't you try a test there, your gun control? See how it's working there. Not working very well, is it? Your hometown, President Obama, Chicago. Someone's being shot every 2 hours and 55 seconds. Murdered every 17 hours. That has caused, in 2015 alone, 442 killings and 2,553 people were wounded. Why don't you fix your own problem, you phony, you hypocrite? Why don't you go back there and then tell us, hey, your program worked. Now you want to spread it around the United States. You come from Chicago with those kind of statistics, and you're going to tell us what you're the great one, and you're going to take my gun away because that's what's going to fix things? How many gun control laws are there now? How many gun control laws are in the books now? Why don't you enforce those? So let's go take a look at some stocks. Gun stocks. That's how we'll make money, because the more this guy talks about, I swear he's got to have money, and his friends and his wife got to have money, and all the gun makers. Take Smith & Wesson. Look at this thing. Are you nuts? Look at this thing. Well, let's just go from where it turned green. In November, it turned from red to green. It turned green at $17. $17 is green. It's still green. Money's at $26. As soon as he started to talk, think about this. As soon as he started to talk, yesterday it closed at $23, and today it's up at almost $27. Because he's talking about gun control. He's done more for the gun industry than anybody else in the world. Can you imagine that? So let me give you these numbers again. So it turned from so a 52% rally you would have made 52% by just simply having that as one of your 5 stocks. I always teach people, always train them, just stay with the same 5 stocks all year. It's so silly to think you got to run around and you got to buy all these different stocks. You got to buy the hot stock. See, Wall Street's created the flavor of the day, the flavor of the month. That's ridiculous. There's only a certain amount of people on Wall Street who have the money to buy the stocks. There's about 24 people who have the money. Although those 24 people buy all the important stocks. So you take the important stocks, take the 5 biggest stocks or the 5 best stocks, or you can go take you can pick about 50 different top stocks. Just take 5 of them, like we did: Goldman Sachs, Schlumberger, Intel, IBM, Caterpillar. Because the more you stay with the same 5 stocks, now you start learning how to make money when the stock goes down. That's what you should be focusing on. Stop focusing about dividends. This thing with dividends drives me nuts because it doesn't work anymore. It used to work when we had a fair Wall Street, when you used to look for undervalued companies. You look for a great company who management screwed it up, and then you fire the management. The stock went down 40%. Fire the management, bring new management in. You fix the company. 10 years later, the stock is up 60, 70%. That's how we used to make money. Those days are gone. Since computers came out, those days are gone. Now they take computers, they bring them down to Wall Street, put their computer next to the other computer, they trade ahead of you, all this crap, which is fine, which is good, it's wonderful, as long as you use the chart. Now, here's the better thing. Now, let's go look at another gun maker, RGR. Oh, my God. Now, here's a good one. Think about this. When the institutions who own RGR pour money in and pour money out, let's say they took money out in October. It went from green to red. They took money out at $58, and it went down to $48. 58 to 48. That's a 17% return you would have had. 17%. But see, Wall Street won't give you that 17%. No, that's shorting. They won't give that to you. Well, you get it here at Phil's gang. Then it turns around and it goes, then they finally decided to buy it back. And they went in and bought it at $53, up to $66. So 24% up. Let's say you made 10% down and 10% up. You imagine the difference that makes in your life towards retirement instead of just depending on buying a stock? Join my gang right now. 877-600-GANG.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Do you think gold is money?
No.
Gold's not money? You got to be kidding. That's Ron Paul asking Ben Bernanke. Of course, Ben Bernanke lied. Of course, gold is money. But here's what he doesn't want you to know. They've been suppressing gold, trying to push gold down because it competes with the dollar. The Federal Reserve doesn't sell gold. They sell dollars. Gold competes. Gold will dictate in a free market where interest rates should be. That's the last thing they want, because they manipulate interest rates. Now, has your broker told you that? Has your planner told you that? No. Well, I told my gang that. I explained it to them, and we positioned ourselves to be in a perfect position for gold and copper as it dropped. That's why you want to join my gang, Phil's gang. We're right on top of this. philsgang.com. Join today. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Be Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
At philsgang.com, we promote core technicals and chart analysis that enables each Phil's Gang member to be the best investor they can be. At philsgang.com, stock investing is defined in detail by the Phil's Gang standards. Working together, we achieve our goals and ultimately provide a truly unique profit-taking experience for our members. This is what philsgang.com does, and no one does it better than the off-the-Wall Street maverick, Phil Grande. For over 15 years, Phil coaches and teaches that stock investing diversity goes beyond fundamentals and stories. We believe that amazing things happen when people invest in themselves by following Phil's format and recommendations. At philsgang.com, we believe in the desire to embrace, build, and deliver on our core values and promises. And for over 15 years, Phil Grande has delivered on that promise. For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, it used to be, hey, what's that hot stock? There's no hot stocks anymore. You know what it's all about now? It's identifying when to get in the market, when to get out. And why? Because the market is rigged. It's rigged to go up. There's nothing better. It's rigged to go up. It's called quantitative easing. Join my gang, philsgang.com. Have fun with us in a rigged market.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. You know, on May 29th, I warned that a stock market crash was coming. I also warned in July. Both times, I was watching my technology, my PT2 chart, and it turned from green to red. Both in May and July, we had substantial warnings. We saw the industrials fall. We saw that the Chinese market was falling, was getting worse. Oil was falling. Copper was falling. Everything was falling. But again, CNBC was telling you, hey, things are cheap, diversify, everything's wonderful. But my chart was giving me something different. And on both those occasions, both in May and July, I told my gang, let's short the stock market now, because my PT2 chart indicated a sell-off was coming in. And we did. And we had a wonderful ride all the way down. Join my gang, Phil's Gang.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel on youtube.com.
I knew there were just a ton more fees behind there somewhere, and we just had to find them.
Gerald Schneider of Bainbridge Island, Washington, fits the profile of a typical 401k investor. It's not because he's a baby boomer, Jerry is 62, or because he likes dogs. What makes Jerry a lot like the other 50 million 401k investors in America is that he just saw his 401k balance take a serious tumble. From the beginning of January 2008 to the end of March, Jerry lost $44,108. Those were investment losses that Jerry knew about. It's what he didn't know that's got him worried.
Yeah, he didn't know got him worried. You're right. Because here, think about how it works. Right now, there's 89 million people invested $4.5 trillion into 401ks. And a 401k is a failure. It's a total disgrace. The impact of fees are terrible. Just a 2% fee wipes out 63% of your retirement money. Nobody is that lucky to be charged a 2% fee. What about the 28 hidden fees, especially the ones that they burn and churn you every day, trading your stock you know nothing about? And that's cruel. That's $168 million a day. These companies, your mutual fund, you have a 401k, you got a mutual fund in it, and you're sitting there right now. You have no clue. They're in there grinding and trading, and you have no idea what's costing you. You're being told they only charge you 1 or 2% of the assets that you have. A bunch of nonsense that is. So If you take, now let's go back to the guns. Ruger's a great company. Now, all you have to do, just think about it for a moment. Again, Ruger, back in October, when it turned from green to red, it told us the institutions were pulling that money out. And it dropped about 17%. Then it turned green when they put money back in. The same institutions. It went up about 24%. So the difference is you're making money on both sides, just like professionals do. Wall Street doesn't want you to do that because they make money on the downside. They make money on you. See, they keep telling you cost average down so they can short it against you. Why do you think they only allow you to buy? Now let's take one of our 5 stocks, Schlumberger, and then Intel. Intel on a short, when it turned red, it dropped 21%. But we're going to turn around, and I'm not going to tell you we made 21%. I'm going to tell you we made 10% because you won't believe the 21. When it turned back the other way, it went up another 17%. But I'm not going to tell you that either. I'm going to say 10% both sides. Same with Schlumberger. 13% up, and then when it turned red, another 24% down. So we'll cut these all in half because you won't believe it. Join the gang. Let me give you the number. 877-600-GANG. 877-600-GANG. Now, it takes you time. You got to learn. We do all the heavy lifting. You don't have to do a thing. You don't have to do a thing. This is not hard. You don't have to spend any time at it. At the end of the month, if you don't say, God, I wish I did, I get what he's saying. I wish I did this years ago. I just wish I did this years ago. He's right. How the hell can I make money, retirement money, if I'm only allowed to make money if a stock goes up? You know how good my money manager has to be? When in fact, the money manager is not good because you don't get good money managers in mutual funds. They're the flunkies. Good money managers are in the pensions. And also on top of that, they have no fiduciary relationship with you. None.
Our responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
Yeah, nothing. So why would they help you? That's why they won't let you short. But I'm one little guy. When you see on TV, you're watching CNBC or Fox or Bloomberg, and you see J.P. Morgan or Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley and the big fancy commercials, and they got the 401k, and you're walking the beach with your wife, and the sun's going down, and they're telling you how you're gonna retire, and you're gonna be happy, you're gonna live together, you're gonna love each other, everything's good. Are you nuts? Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're going to be wondering, how the hell am I going to retire? You're going to say, I'm 60. I'm right now 55 years old. You're saying, I'm 55. I didn't realize all these fees. 55. I'd have to catch up right now. I have to put away $73,000 a year to retire at 65. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? If you're 25 years old, okay, you'd have to put $5,000 away. So you got to start early. But how many people start early? With a 401k, you're always taking money out. Your kids are sick. You got health problems. You got somebody in the family. You need money. You're always taking money out of that 401k. You will never reach a goal to retire. But you can if you get that extra side of the trade. Short it. Try to convince people that it's almost impossible. It's like I'm talking from Mars when I say, oh, they think, oh, dividends. I got beautiful dividends. Dividends? Do you think that's really going to work? Cost. Take away your dividends, you idiot. Cost. But they won't tell you that. Anyways, let me give you a number. Let's reach out to you, and we're here for one reason, to help St. Jude. That's how we started this 15 years ago. So why don't you try it for 1 month? See if it works. See if we help you. You don't have to spend any time at it. You don't even have to think. 877-600-GANG. Just try it. Just try it. You know, I love this, going back to Obama guns. Like I said, if he's so concerned about guns, why don't you go back and fix Chicago? But I don't know if guns prevent more crime or cause more crime. Who the hell knows? But what we do know This is not about controlling guns, but controlling people. That's what this is about. It's about data gathering. He wants to get a list of everyone in this country who owns a gang, just like the Nazis did in World War II. Everyone who owns a gun. That's all his data gathering. See, other than guns making millions of people like me or you feel safe, they provide a sense of control and an ability to protect ourselves from whatever feels like a threat. The biggest threat is government. Owning a gun gives you the feeling that you are taking control to protect yourself and any risk. At any risk. But you know what the biggest fear, the biggest risk is, what's most frightening? Is government. It's not about taking your gun. It's asserting control over us. Obama and his liberal government, they're encroaching on our values, our freedom. That's what it's all about. How many people own a gun and never even shoot it? Just to have that gun. The real reason we want to have guns, because it shows the government you're not going to take our last freedom. Millions of people want guns, less to protect themselves against some danger, and more to protect themselves from the threat of a liberal government, a threat from Obama, who uses the veil of gun control to take away our ability to control our own lives. Because in Obama's sick liberal mind, the rest of those liberals in Washington, they truly believe, these liberals truly believe, they know what's best for us, our families, better than we do. That's how sick they are. And you know what's funny? I said to my wife over the weekend, we were putting all our Christmas stuff away, I said, liberals, they hate Christmas. They went around our town and they want to take down all the nativity scenes and all that. They want to, they want to get rid of Christmas trees because the liberals just aren't keen on God. The real Messiah is Obama and big government. Obama and his liberals would prefer to skip the part in America's Declaration of Independence that says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. There's just nothing in this statement that liberals like. Obama hates that. There's nothing in that statement Obama likes or a liberal likes. Especially that our freedoms are unalienable because they are given to us by God. They are not entitlements or privilege dispensed by government. That's why they hate that. Oh, brother. It's unbelievable. So all you're going to hear tonight in the news is how he's going to make things safe with the guns. Just remember, Chicago, 442 killings last year, 2,553 wounded. Worse than Iraq. Join my gang right now, Phil's gang. Learn how to short.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me.